So you want to work on a model in Blender. So the steps in order to import a model into Blender is to go to File, Import, and then whatever type of format that model's in. Most cases for VRChat avatars are going to be in FBX format. So I'm going to import as FBX. So in this window, you have to navigate to the folder where your Unity project or the FBX is located. I can set up bookmarks to different various folders I keep a lot of my Unity projects in. So I'm going to go into my face tracking folder, and then I'm going to go to Manuka. Then I'm going to go into the file, FBX, import FBX. When you import an FBX into Blender, there's a lot of things that don't look very nice to work on. First of all, the bones are a solid frame and you can't see it behind the mesh. So in order to change that, you click the bones, which is also the armature. The bones are under. You click the object mode, viewport display. We're going to select in front, and then we're going to display it as wire. That fixes the armature. Now there's no textures being shown on the avatar. Sometimes they're purple, sometimes it's white. If it's white, that means that there's no textures typically assigned to each of the materials for the avatar. If you had actually pink, you can actually go to File, External Data, find Missing Files, go to the folder where the textures would be located, Textures, and then find Missing Files. In this case, it didn't find any of the missing files. So in order to add textures to these materials, we'll go to the shading workspace. We can zoom in. Click on the mesh that we want to inspect. So on body, we have two materials. We have Manuka face and Manuka option. So then once again, I'm going to go to the folder that has the textures. And then I can change it so I can actually see it. And change the size so I can actually see where I need to go. So this is Manuka face. And these are labeled very clearly, Manuka face. Drag it into the project. Grab color to base color. Now we have a texture assigned to the face. There's other shader settings in here that we don't need to mess with. Manuka option, that's typically the emotes on the face, are usually a transparent layer. So typically that's going to be the same face or a different texture meant for the emotes. So once again, color. But in this case, this is an alpha channel one where it's transparency. So the alpha is the transparency, goes to alpha. And then in our shader setting, we want to change it from opaque to alpha blend. Alpha blend is the transparency mode in Blender. So this layer, we did these two textures and two materials. So we're going to go to the next one, Manuka hair. So we have Manuka hair. Grab that, go to color, then body. And then costume. Okay. Now that should be all the textures that we need to put in. All these other meshes in the hierarchy all use the same material, but they are separate meshes. Okay, so that is done. So that is an avatar with all the textures assigned, and then basically the bones assigned to to be visible and usable. So we can now mess with it to add face tracking. To do this, we'll go to the face, which is a separate mesh. It's named body. This will work for face tracking because the default templates point to the body mesh. So I'm going to click the head, then Control I to select everything else. Press H to hide. So now we just have the head. Before we get too farther, we can actually save. I'm going to name this tutorial. And save. Okay. So on face tracking, what I want to do is create vertex groups to be used to mask the shape of creating the shapes in sculpting. In order to do this, we can actually create vertex groups to create our masks to basically save for other applications later. So in order to add a vertex group, you hit plus. You can rename it to left head mask. This will create a new vertex group called left head mask. Then we're going to hit tab to get into edit mode of the object. Control Alt Z to go transparency mode so we can see all the mesh in the head. So in order to see it in orthographic view, we can do 5, then 1 to go front face, 3 to go side. So we're going to just do front. So we're going to create a mask for the left side of the head. So I'm going to hit B to do box select. Drag it down and select everything on the left side of the head. Obviously, if you're looking at it dead on straight, it's going to be on the opposite, so it's going to be on our right hand side for the left. I did over select some stuff, so I can use C, and then I can use shift to deselect, holding shift, and I can drag the circle around to deselect any of the meshes that I didn't. And we want this to be very accurate on this selection because it will break things if you do not have it perfectly symmetrical. So what we'll do is select everything that we need. And we should have everything selected. Oh, there's a couple here. And now those are selected. And now we're good. So what we're going to do is you're going to take these selections. We have a weight of 1, and then we're going to assign it. So basically everything that we selected is going to be assigned a weight of 1 to this vertex group. Now we're going to create another vertex group called right head mask. And a way we can mirror it is Control Shift M, and that'll mirror it to the opposite side. In the bottom, there's a warning that said there was some of the mesh that wasn't mirrored over. If a model is not symmetrical or has been alterated on one side to be different from another, you will not see orange on the other side when you mirror it. That will be a little bit of a headache down the road, but it's just more extra work. But in this case, it was just some of the eye parts and some of the emote parts that did not mirror over properly. So what we want to do is we want to select these. So I'm going to do circle select, and I'm going to select this part. Now I want to select that part and that part. Now we have everything selected on the right side of the head. We're going to assign. And then I can use Alt A to deselect everything. Okay. Now another mask I like to create when doing face tracking is the brow mask. And what we want to do is what we want to do is we want to have a sort of an area where we want to only be affected when we're sculpting for the mesh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, using L to select linked mesh, and now I have the eyebrows selected, and I want this also to be in the area of the brow mask. Now I'm going to use circle select, go up here, and we'll go here and select that. Okay. So now there's things are covering the bottom of this mesh over here, but we can make our lives easier by just hitting Control plus to expand the selection zone. I want the brow inner influence to be not there, and that looks about where I want the brow mask to be. So I'm going to hit Control Shift M to mirror, but I go down to this bottom selection tool options, is I want, instead of it mirroring, I want it to extend my selection. So now I've extended the selection with the mirror. Now I'm going to hit Assign. Now the brows are assigned for the mask. Now I want to do the eye upper mask. So I'm going to deselect everything. Now these are going to be a little bit tricky because there's a lot of mesh here. So I'm going to hit linking everything. And I'll select all these different elements. And there, and there. Okay, and that. And this, the one thing I'm going to test, if I go into the shape keys of the avatar, I hit this, the shape key edit mode. I can go to eye closed and I can see where it's moving. So it looks like it's pinching about right there. And this is also moving with the eye upper part. So I'm going to select this also. Then I'm going to do Control Shift M to select everything on the eye upper. I'm going to assign. I'm going to hit H. So now we have that hidden, but it's still assigned to the eye upper mask. Then what we'll do is go through here and select these vertexes right here. And I'm going to go Control plus. And we want this to go a little bit farther back in the eye, so we want to influence a little bit of the back of the eye when moving. So I'm going to reduce this because we're going to go plus. And that's where I want it to go. Now this is too far down because the pinch point is about there. So we want the mask to go, for the upper eye mask to stop right there. So I want to get rid of these. So I'm going to go just select that. And we'll go back here and just select these other vertices. Okay. Now on the side, this one's going to be in the middle. So I'm going to hit C and then just select everything I don't need. Okay. Now that is the eye upper portion. I think this is going a little bit too far back, so I'm going to pull that forward. I'm going to do, I think this is a little bit too far in the middle, so I'm going to deselect that. And I think this is going up too high, so I'm going to go deselect that. And there. So I'm going to Control Shift M. Assign. Now we want to do the lower eye lower mask. So eye lower. Control Alt Z to do X-ray mode. And I'm going to deselect this and keep that edge where the edge is, and I'm going to deselect everything over here because this is all symmetrical and I can mirror it over. So next step is I'm going to select these lower parts. And I'm going to go here and about there and there and going back all the way over there. Go back here, select everything. And that should be everything that we need. So now we're good to mirror. Mirror that over. I see I missed a spot. I'm going to deselect that spot. And I'm going to assign this. Okay. Now for our mouth upper, if the avatar already has ah, this can be helpful. So we can open up the mouth. Got the teeth. I like to throw in a mask just so I can get teeth out of the way when I want to really quickly. So I'll make a teeth mask. And I like to throw those into a teeth mask. Pretty quick and simple. Also, I like to do a tongue mask, also to make it easy to grab. So select that, and assign, hide. So now the next part is doing mouth upper mask. So what we're going to do is we're going to select everything above where it pinches on the open of the mouth. So this would be right there. So we want to select everything up there, and we want to have the influence to go about to where the eyes are. So it can be help when we're trying to do expressions and stuff. We'll have it all the way up there. Now the nose has a little bit of mesh behind it, so I'm going to select a little bit of X-ray. Then we're going to go here, and I'm going to select up to where I would expect for the influence of the mouth upper. Now we will have some cheek movement, so we will have some movement really far back, so we can have it over there. I'm going to expand it. Get rid of all this. If I want, I probably could move the ears a little bit, but I'm going to leave it as is right now. So I'm going to select all the lower eyelid little parts. And look at it on this front view. I selected too far down, so I'm going to go there, and as this is that's about mouth upper, so I'm going to do it there, and that's needs to be deselected. Control Shift M. C, and that is a good mouth upper, so I'm going to assign that. Once again, Control Z, Alt Z to go transparency mode, and we'll just deselect everything. Open up the mouth so we can see things better. Transparency mode again, and deselect everything that we don't need. So I'm going to do this all aside because we don't need that. Check the inside, grab that, and we're good on that. So now select a portion of the lower mouth, call it mouth lower mask. And do that. Grab that inside the mouth. Now this is so much easier when you don't have the teeth in here, so you can actually select things easily. Get everything that we don't need. So okay, now we should double check with the transparency mode, and it looks about right. Okay, now we'll assign lower mask. Make sure that these work by hitting select. Lower eyelid, upper eyelid. Now we can bring back everything that we hid. Okay. Now those are all the masks that I create for face tracking. So now what we want to do is basically modify these masks so we can for actually when splitting the face tracking shapes. So when you're in object mode, go into weight paint, and you'll see each of these masks when you click them. Some of these I may actually want to modify a little bit. May want to change some influence. Obviously on this eye upper one, I probably want to have these also included, so I'm going to click that and assign it to eye upper. Now they'll go to a value of 1, which is red. Now on the little eye lower, that looks good. Teeth, tongue, mouth upper, and mouth lower. Okay. Now these are pretty reasonable for right now. Sometimes I will have to go back and modify these if I have issues down the road. So, but what I'll do now is I will create smoothing masks with these. So I'll create copy the vertex group. Now that's a copy of that vertex group left head mask. I'm going to go to weights, smooth, go to the options down here, make sure it's active group, factor of 1, iterations of 4, and a expand of -0.3. So this is what I have used that works really well when splitting the blend shapes. So now that's smooth only on that layer, so it's the same there, and then smooth. I'm gonna name this smooth to just make sure it's organized. I'll do this on the right head. Copy. Weights smooth. Now it will remember my last change on this tool, so I'll do the exact same thing, so I don't have to edit it. Goes smooth. Now we want to do this on the mouth upper mask, so we'll copy this. And then we'll go to weights, smooth. And then mouth lower, copy, weights, smooth. Okay. Now all these blend shapes and the avatar is set up for the start face tracking.